I've been watching this space for a while, and the FoxAlien X Ultra 8080 CNC bundle keeps coming up when makers need serious real estate without the six-figure price tag. If you're on the fence about whether this machine actually fits the work you have in mind or whether the included trimmer router is more than just an afterthought, then stick around. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. What usually stops people is the fear of buying a CNC that either can't handle the materials they need or ends up sitting half-built in the garage. The XE Ultra's 33,334.72-inch working volume is the first thing that changes the math. That's big enough to cut full 48 sheets into manageable chunks or carve large signs without tedious repositioning. The 5.3-inch Z-axis pass height means you can stack 2x material or even some aluminum extrusion without swapping spoil boards halfway through a job. If you're mostly cutting plywood, MDF, or soft metals like brass and aluminum up to inch thick, the 2.6 Nm closed loop steppers give you the torque to keep feeds aggressive without losing steps. That's the kind of detail that separates a weekend toy from a day-to-day tool. Now, the trimmer router that ships with the bundle is where things get interesting. Most starter CNCs ship with a basic 60mm spindle that tops out around 24,000 revolutions per minute and can't handle anything harder than pine. The FA710 is a 65mm beast that actually fits the XE Ultra's spindle clamp, so you're not bolting on a separate tool or rewiring anything. It spins from 10,000 to 30,000 revolutions per minute in 6 discrete steps, which is useful when you're flipping between fine engraving and hogging out aluminum. The higher RPM range also lets you run smaller bits at higher surface speeds, so detail work on brass nameplates or circuit board isolation routing stays clean. The catch is that this isn't a water-cooled spindle, it's air-cooled, so if you're running at 30,000 revolutions per minute for more than a few minutes on hard materials, you'll want to pause and let the motor cool. That's not a deal-breaker for most hobbyists, but if you're planning production runs, budget an extra quiet fan or a compressed air blow-off setup. Where this bundle shines is in the middle ground between entry-level and industrial. If you're currently outsourcing aluminum sign work or brass inlays because your current CNC can't handle the depth or the material, the XE Ultra's beefy steppers and the FA710 speed range give you a path to bring that work in-house. It's also one of the few machines in this price bracket that can accept a 65mm router without a custom mount, so you're not locked into proprietary tooling. On the flip side, if you're only cutting inch basswood for model airplanes or doing light acrylic engraving, the extra size and torque are overkill. You'd be better served by a smaller, lighter machine that's easier to tuck into a corner. The other hidden trade-off is noise and dust management. The XE Ultra's gantry is aluminum extrusion, which keeps weight down but also acts like a sounding board. At full feed rates on hardwood or aluminum, expect a high-pitched whine that can fill a garage. A basic dust shoe helps, but you'll still want to run it in a ventilated space or add an enclosure if you're sensitive to noise. The FA710's higher RPM range also means more airborne dust, so factor in a good shopvac or a cyclone separator if you're cutting a lot of MDF. So who should pull the trigger? If you're a maker who's outgrown a desktop CNC and needs the space to handle full sheets or multiple parts in one setup, this bundle gives you the volume and the tooling to do it without a second mortgage. It's also a solid choice if you're experimenting with soft metals and want a router that can keep up with the RPM demands of brass and aluminum without swapping spindles mid-project. If you're strictly woodworking with thin materials or you don't have the space for a machine that size, look elsewhere. That extra capacity won't pay for itself. Before you click buy, measure your doorway and your longest stock. The XE Ultra is heavy enough that you'll probably need help lifting it, and the shipping crate is large. Once it's in place, though, the workflow is straightforward. The control board is GRBL based, so you can use the free UGS or BCNC software you're already familiar with, and the limit switches are wired so homing is reliable out of the box. The only real setup headache is tramming the spindle and squaring the gantry, but that's true of any large format CNC. In short, this bundle is a practical step up for makers who need real capacity and a flexible spindle without jumping to a $5,000 plus industrial machine. It's not perfect, but the trade-offs are clear.